So what is going on, guys? It's Brandon here.
And it's Jamie here.
And today, we're actually going to be having a debate.
Yeah,
And
so
what's that debate on?
That debate is on whether Mario Kart 9 will be good or bad.
Hey, you! Yes, you! You like watching this channel, right?
Of course you do. It's sublime.
Well, we've got something to show you.
A Discord server. Yeah.
If you like Mario Kart, this is the place to be.
Quizzes, predictions, hating Baby Park. It's all here.
The link is in the description. Come join the Standard Karting Discord.
We'll see you soon.
Now, me and Brandon agree on a lot of things, but what people don't see is the amount that we disagree on. So we actually wanted to bring you a bit of one of our little debates that we usually have.
Yes.
Before we give this one a public debut. See how it goes.
Yeah.
But okay, so it's my firm belief that Mario Kart 9 has some very big shoes to fill. It has the biggest, it has the most expectation of any Mario Kart ever right now. I don't see how it could be a success.
Okay. Well, I completely disagree. And I think that not only will it be it won't be bad, Nintendo will find a way. They always do. Nintendo will find a way to top top 8 Deluxe. They will do it.
Cool. So, my first point, I just need to explain, is that the Mario Kart will heavily depend on what console it's on. Generally, if the console is bad, the game will also be bad. Let's have a look back at Double Dash, okay? The GameCube was good, but it didn't perform well. People barely brought that thing, and as such, Double Dash was looked at really, really harshly. That is one of the worst performing games in the series.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't like Double Dash, and weirdly enough, I'm agreeing with something that you've just said, and I'm about to rebuttal that with one of my points. And my point is that this next Mario Kart will be on a new system entirely. So there's room for the game to run a lot better. There'll be less lag, there'll be, more room for the game to look spectacular, even though that's not what I'm fussed about.
Okay, so I'd actually ordered my points, but I'm going to go out the order a little bit to just respond to what you just said. That also works against it. Not only will the next console be hella expensive, but every Nintendo console has a gimmick. Motion controls with the Wii, portability with the Switch, the Wii U gimmick was being shit. That gimmick could be the thing that kills it. If you look at Mario Kart Wii, people hated the motion controls. And that was the gimmick of it.
But, there's still a small section of the fan base that, and doesn't matter how small they are, they're still there. But those small section still enjoy motion controls. We have a personal friend who does.
Oh god, now, he doesn't stop playing motion controls.
Seriously, it's crazy. However, now, ironically enough, I can actually rebuttal that with another rebuttal. So, one of my points is the fact that while this new console might have a new gimmick, that might tie in incredibly well to the next Mario Kart's new gimmick. Now, whatever that ends up being, we don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure you said at one point that 8 Deluxe was rumoured to have some sort of, digging underground gimmick?
It was, yeah.
Now, imagine if, some sort of digging underground mechanic did return. Maybe they postponed it for this game. Now, how could that affect the new console? How could that sort of bring the new gimmick for the next console? I mean, a lot of people are pretty much saying that it's a Switch successor, and that seems to be what it's been like. It's like a Switch 2 almost, and I'm kind of disappointed at that.
I'm a bit scared for that, because last time we had something 2 was the Wii U. And that did awfully. Nintendo could really mess up with their marketing here.
Yeah.
And that, whether you like it or not, impacts how the console and the game will do. So one of my other points is that game prices are on the rise. The new Mario Kart could cost a hell of a ton. If that game isn't crisp, people will be disappointed by the cost alone. The cost really affects how much and how people look at something.
I mean,
So-
I think that obviously the new Mario Kart game is like, yeah, okay, prices are going up, but I swear, like, every new Mario Kart is like 60 quid. Right? Every single time it comes out, it's either like 40 to 60 quid. And if they're pricing it at around that range and they want a top 8 deluxe, I would say all they have to do is they have to just sort of make this the best thing it can be. And one way they can do that is they can give us like completely like new modes. So, for example, like obviously they could bring back mission mode, but that's not new. But what if they gave us some sort of new mode, like some sort of, I don't know, like a time trial tournament kind of thing, where like everybody's like ghost is on the screen at once, and you're against each other's time trials. I just think that'd be a bit more interesting, you know, like it could really like push more people to play time trials, and that would get more people buying it.
Ironically enough, I have a rebuttal for that exact argument. And it's that Nintendo recently, now if you look at the Switch, a lot of the games are ports, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are ports, and they're done really well.
Oh yeah.
And then Nintendo has a lot of games that created for the Switch, and those have done less well, especially the spin-offs. Nintendo seem to be losing their touch with it. I don't know why, but if you look at stuff like Strikers Battle League, they're losing their touch. They don't know what they're doing with them. Mario Golf, Tennis Aces, they're all just more games. They don't really have any innovation right now. I can't remember the last time they actually innovated. Right? I think the last time was probably Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough that Nintendo aren't really innovating on some of their spin-off series, but their most successful spin-off series, Mario Kart, like, yeah, not many people were fussed about anti-gravity, but people were happy when things like Tricks returned. Like, if Tricks don't return, then that's like a fundamental flaw of a Mario Kart game. So, Tricks are going to come back. Gliding and underwater sections are going to come back, much to the chagrin of us. And whether you like it or not, anti-grav's coming back too. And honestly, I don't hate anti-grav.
Neither do I. Anti-grav's a good. Anti-grav's a good thing. It allows for more creative track design.
Yeah,
But-
and on top of that,
You see-
anti-grav will be alongside this new gimmick, and it might sort of create like a new way to play. Like if it is like some sort of underground gimmick, then we've literally visited everywhere on the track: the sea, the sky, the road, the on the wall, and under the ground, everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that, but these gimmicks that they introduce are now becoming fundamentals. We can't ever see Mario Kart again without the gliding, without the water, without the underground or the anti-grav. Like, it has, every time there's a new Mario Kart, it has big shoes to fill. And another thing as well, is that what else has grown is the community. Naturally, right? Have you seen how big the community is now? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is one of the best-selling games of all time now.
It brought so many people in.
It did, but that works against Nintendo because they can't satisfy everyone. There will always be those people who pick at the game. People will naturally be disappointed. Some people will be happy, obviously. Everyone's going to be happy when a new Mario Kart comes out, but people will quickly turn on it. I think 8 Deluxe is such a perfect game for people to get into because it has the stuff there for casual audiences. You know, you can bring out 2 Joy-Cons and play with your family. Love that, but it's also got the competitive side. Mario Kart 9 has very, very big shoes to fill in that regard. And with the trend of how Mario Kart games are going, it's going to be more safe. It's going to be anti-mod. It's going to be anti-CGP. It's going to be anti-whatever. It's going to be very less... There's going to be less there for the community to input, if you get what I mean.
Of course. I mean, one thing they could do to sort of counteract that and counteract the rise of their fanbase getting so much greater than they could ever imagine, one thing they could do is they could improve certain aspects of the game. And one certain aspect that would get a lot more people involved and get a lot more people playing it is expanding the character roster. Now, the character roster is something that is absolutely shocking in Base 8. What is that character roster? And 7, actually. What are they? However, 8 Deluxe it was improved slightly, and then the Booster Course Pass has given us some fan favorites. So, honestly, I genuinely think that more characters that people love, like, think about it, Super Mario RPG's releasing it, like, the remake is releasing at the end of this year. Imagine if they added, like, in the next Mario Kart game, Geno and Mallow. People would go insane. They'd be like, yeah, Geno and Mallow, that's awesome.
But one of my fears, and on that point as well, is that Nintendo could just see, oh, people want quantity, not quality. They could chuck in, I don't fucking know, Goomba, Poochie. They could chuck in, I don't know, Platinum Luigi. They might see that as an excuse to chuck as much into the game as possible without giving it any actual care. Like, another one of my points is that in order for people to be satisfied with Mario Kart 9, we're going to have to see DLCs in its next game. We're going to have to see an abundance of tracks, potentially maybe even every track.
I mean, that... Go on.
And that's just going to take away from the overall quality. Because I would rather have a game the size of Wii that has the quality of Wii, rather than a game the size of 8 Deluxe that has the quality of 7.
Yeah, I can agree with that, absolutely. But one way they could improve the quality of the tracks while keeping this sort of quantity that 8 Deluxe has created is, like, you know how 8 Deluxe is sort of built to preserve Tour's content?
Yeah.
If they made some of the Tour versions of tracks, like, and I don't just mean like Tour's version of the retros, I mean Tour's like Nitro tracks. Now, not just like PP Cove and like Ninja Hideaway and all that, the RMX courses. Now, if they made more of those, but they made them like look graphically as good as Base 8 on the next Mario Kart, that would be amazing, because that's new content that is now accessible to everyone,
So
not just buried on Tour.
You mean instead of remakes, they get reimagined?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I like that.
I think
I like that.
reimagines would actually be a lot better in some regard than remakes entirely. Because when you have a remake, usually the track layout and the track visuals and where things are stay the same. And that's obviously there for consistency. But when you have a reimagine, you can take that course and alter it to, like, in a new way. Like, for example, let's take GBA Luigi Circuit. I've seen versions of that track where you go through the hangar in the background instead of just round that U-turn. Like, the U-turn extends all the way into the hangar and then back round. Imagine that. That's the entire track. Like, it's still the same track, kind of, but it's now reimagined to do something a bit different.
You know what? I like that. My only concern is that Nintendo don't have that driving aspect to improve anymore. I haven't seen them innovate on a game in a long while. Like, the closest we've seen is 3D World and Bowser's Fury. That's not innovating on the base game, that's just adding more content. Good content, but it's just more content. How can we see Nintendo actually improve some of these tracks? Like, Luigi Luigi Circuit, very good, but how do you improve something like Cheeseland? Like, that track is fucking awful in 8 Deluxe. But one other point of mine is, would people be ready for change? Because they could end up just making this next game Nintendo Kart. They could get rid of the Mario aspect, which sure some people would like, but I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't like. They might just end up doing a Smash Bros, but with kart racing, and kill off Mario Kart. That's something that they could do, and we saw that trend in 8 when all the non-Nintendo characters came. With 8 Deluxe, even as Inklings came. So that's a concern for a lot of Mario Kart players, and it's a very real possibility.
Of course. I mean, the thing with change that a lot of people, even in today's society, seem to struggle with is that, like, they're scared of it. They're scared of change, and they don't want it to alter their perfect view of something. A good example of this is Airship Fortress's remake in 7. Now, it's still Airship Fortress, don't get me wrong. Nothing majorly changed about that track. It still feels like Airship Fortress to me. But they kind of butchered it slightly. Like, it loses, that cannon doesn't feel anywhere near as cool anymore. because the glider ruins it. Or like when they change it so that like even in Tor, it's not in the sky anymore, it's above some lava. Like what happened? But what I see as a way to improve that is just make like they will have retro that will like the retros left are good. Like think about it, GBA Rainbow Road is due a remake and that could look phenomenal. DS Bowser Castle's due a remake. Technically if BC4 doesn't make it to the BCP, then that means that it could potentially make it into Mario Kart 9 or whatever it ends up being called. Just like all these cool courses that they've left behind in older games, like they're not going to get remade. And sure, things like Figure 8 Circuit have also not been remade, and if that comes along, people are going to be like, what the Christ, Nintendo, what did you do there? But they can balance that kind of thing out with making it look visually amazing. Or changing it and reimagining it.
My counter to that is, looking at that, most of the fan favourites have already come back in this fan favourite DLC. If people just keep seeing the same tracks over and over again, they're going to get bored of them. Like how people saw Coconut Mall, Mushroom Gorge, Maple Tree Way, Cooper Cape, came back in 7, came back in 8. People don't want to see them again. They're good courses, for the love of God, we love them, but nobody wants to keep seeing the same courses, so what you're left with now is the Figure 8 circuits and the N64 Wario stadiums. They can reimagine these courses, sure, but they're still these courses. They're not ones that people want to see. Like, a big point of 8 Deluxe being so good is that the amount of content that came in it. But most of the content Nintendo can do with the new game is stuff that's already been done. There's an issue there. Like, yeah, they could be bringing back the Toad's Factories. Everybody likes Toad's Factory, but with every Toad's Factory now, you have a really stinky remake like fucking Wario Stadium. Tracks that people don't want to see.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's interesting that like the retros is what a lot of people like fixate on, when in reality, nitros are what you should be fixating on. Nitro should be the driving force of the game. You shouldn't have to rely on your retros. Like, this is something that 7 has to do. 7 has to rely on its retros, and to some degree, so does 8. 8 also has to rely on its retros.
We haven't seen a very solid Nitro lineup since Wii, though.
Exactly.
A lot of the Nitros in 7 and 8 sucked. The only reason 8 Deluxe is regarded as well as it is because it drowned it in retros. And in Tour Nitros as well.
Now,
there's... Sorry, go on.
Now, with that though, I think they have like a lot of like, because think about how many like things Mario has done in the last 10 years that they could turn into tracks. Think about it, there's so much. They could base things off of Odyssey. They could base things off of like Galaxy 2. They could base things off
not
of...
last 10 years, but yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. Like stuff they haven't touched on. Like there isn't a Galaxy 2 based track.
I mean, there is. Resolution Ice World has to come to... Oh, well, that's Mario Galaxy 1.
Exactly.
I'll contradict myself, but... My biggest last point is that will people actually leave 8 Deluxe? Now, how we saw with Wii, people keep playing that to this day. It's still the second most popular Mario Kart right now. And people will never leave that. But will 8 Deluxe have even more of an effect on people where people just don't want to leave it? People will want to stay with 8 Deluxe. Like,
Honestly?
it could end up. So I remember seeing some reports that for the next console, Smash Ultimate might just be ported over because everything is already there, and they might just add to that. Could they do the same with the next game, where they just take 8 Deluxe again, a few more things? Could they do that?
I mean, they absolutely could, and that would make sense because it keeps the drive for 8 Deluxe continuing on for probably another 10 years.
But I don't want to play Toad's Harbour again. Good God.
Don't either. I mean, what I think is a way that this is something that could easily happen. Yes, they could bring over 8 Deluxe again, and it could be around for the next 10 years again. But there's so much more that like the new game can do for it. Think about it. Like character alts, we've not seen that yet. Like we could have a better item selection. Like just improving on things that we've had in the past. Like, and a couple more things that really need like a revamp because they haven't had a decent revamp since Wii is the battle mode. Honestly, yeah, okay, people can be happy about how cool Renegade Roundup is, but honestly, I think that mode's kind of mid. Honestly, I want something a bit more interesting.
Yeah, there could be a lot of fun features in the next Mario Kart, but it's just, will Nintendo do it, and will the situation come where they can? I think it's a difficult argument. We can only wait and see, but I think the hype of 8 Deluxe and the popularity of it, along with the fear factor of the unknown, what's going to come, I'm scared for Mario Kart 9. I think it has some very, very, very big boots to fill, as I said at the start.
I can understand the worry, but I honestly believe that Mario Kart will be just fine for many years to come. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I want to thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like down below. Tell us what you think, whether you think Mario Kart 9, or whatever it ends up being called, will either be like a shining beacon of hope, or you think it's going to rot at the bottom of the list with 7.
We're not giving 7 fans a break, are we?
No.
1K likes, I'll play Baby Park.
He will. He promises. He will.
Nah, 1K likes, I'll play 7 to completion.
But yeah, honestly, join our Discord to get insights into what might be coming up, and to come and chat to us. Honestly, we'd like to hear what you guys have to say about Mario Kart. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
See you guys.